beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. So this isn't an official get unready with me because I'm not technically getting unready yet. I just took a break and that included a shower. I still got a couple more hours to go and then I'll be finished for the day. Okay, so I'm not getting unready just yet. I took a shower and might as well talk to you guys while I brush my hair. So I'm letting it, it's like soaking wet. Does anyone else's hair do this? Maybe it's just mine. Like it gets so soaking wet, you literally have to wring it out. And I do that. And then I put like this type of thing on my head. We have those turby, that's what we call them, turby twists, that you get from TJ Maxx. And my mom actually has all of them. We have 6. And she has all of them, and I have none. So, not at the moment, at least. So anyway, so I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, using a towel. Anyway, we're going to talk about my schedule a little bit, because I always get this question, like, well, I don't know. Sometimes I get the "how do you do it" question from the loving people, and then sometimes I get the "oh, stop. Oh, stop it. Oh, that's not true. Oh, nobody can possibly do that," from the haters. So sometimes I get like a "wow, I want to hear more," and sometimes I get a "oh, that's so not true. You're lying." But I'm gonna go through and tell you guys that I am not lying because life is too short. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So you might as well make the most of it. At least that's what I try to do. So let's dive in, shall we? Okay, so today, for example, I worked. I'll just give you the outline and then we'll break it down into more detail. So first of all, I worked. Then I did errands. Then I did homework. Then I exercised. Then I did more homework. Now we're at the point in the night where I took a shower and I have about like a half hour to an hour worth of homework to go. So that's the typical day, but we'll break it down hour-wise because I hate when people like explain to me their day or show day in the life and like they don't talk about times when everything happens. Like, I don't need to know what you do in a day, okay? I already got that down. I need to know when you do it. That's my feeling. So we're going to dive in here. So for work, I worked from 9 to 5 today since it was Friday. So, and then I got up at like 7:30, rolled out of bed at 7:30. But my goal is to get up an hour and a half before work. And the reason why I try to do that is because I work in the medical field and we don't really get a lunch break. Okay, so like, you can kind of eat during the shift, but I already talk about a whole video on how you don't let the shift control your eating habits because you don't want to develop bad eating habits. So in order to avoid bad eating habits, because everybody kind of munches like throughout the shift, and I don't really want to do that. So I just end up like eating cabbage and drinking a shake that I don't really like the way it tastes, but I'm trying to work on it. Then I can show you guys the recipe once I figure it out. But that's what I do, and it's just because like cabbage really fills you up pretty fast, and drinking that shake it sucks. So I hold my nose and I chug it, and then I'm full, and it's full of vegetables. It nothing healthy for you tastes good, okay? So my lunch doesn't necessarily taste good, but it's got all the nutrients in it. It's got the protein, it's got the fiber, it's got the vegetables, but it doesn't taste good, and that's how I kind of avoid the whole, oh, no lunch break type of thing without shoving food in my face, because I don't like that either. So in order to compensate, because you can't like fast, up until like 1-2 o'clock is when there's like a downtime, and then you can't really like just drink a shake and call it a day. At least my body doesn't let me. So I don't like eating breakfast, but I have to eat breakfast. It really helps stimulate my digestion. So I have not necessarily a bigger breakfast because my metabolism isn't like at a strong point at breakfast time, but I have something with probiotics. So for breakfast, I have like a probiotic type of thing and a fiber type of thing. So I try to do, I do try to do if there's no probiotic, which usually there isn't, because probiotics aren't meant for poor people for some reason. Like, I have yet to find a cheap probiotic. Maybe somebody can help me out. Comment down below a cheap food item that's a probiotic, a cheap supplement that's a probiotic. I've yet to determine that. So sometimes I'll do protein or probiotic, and then some type of fiber thing. So usually it's like protein and oatmeal, you know. Or sometimes it's protein and a vegetable. That's usually my go-to, protein and vegetable. That's usually the pairing. So that's what I have for breakfast. And the thing is, like, in the mornings, I try to do an hour and a half because I want to do like half hour of exercise. And by exercise, I mean yoga, because my body is not ready to like do no cardio class in the morning. Like, no, thank you. I will end up throwing up because I have tried before to do an exercise on an empty stomach. It does not work. I don't really have any fat to lose. So I think that's why my body gets really mad, really, really mad. And then it takes me like all day to recover. So I do yoga in the morning or Pilates, something like that, for a half hour. And then I eat, and that's a half hour because I don't shovel food, and then I get dressed, and that's another half hour. So I try to get up an hour and a half before work, okay? Oh, and then a half hour to commute. Anyway, then moving on, then I'm at work, okay, and running around helping patients, but whatever. So when I'm at work, here's the thing, because like in the medical field, it's kind of hard to do this depending on the position, but with my position, because like I'm entry level, well, technically I'm part-time manager, but like administrative, but like it's part-time. So like I share the responsibilities with somebody else, you know? So it's very easy for me to do this. Like, I have to be focused, and I have to be on the ball, and I have to know what I'm talking about. But like, I don't necessarily have to give 110% at the job because it's mostly administrative. Now, like when I work with patients, like on a Tuesday, or because it's usually like Tuesday, Thursdays, right? So if I work with patients and I do clinical care, that's when it's most exhausting because that's when it is 110%. But when it's like administrative, like billing, calls, like you don't really, you know, that's like not that hard, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you don't really need to be attentive, and you don't have all of these things happening. You're not really working with other people. So that's the thing, is I kind of limit, whenever I'm doing administrative work, I kind of just limit the energy output. And I'm still, like, you can still be successful, and you can still be an asset to the company if you limit your energy output, because certain tasks don't require 100% of activity, right? And that, like, in music therapy was the same exact way. Like, you put 110% into your sessions, but then when you write notes, it's like 60% of your effort, because, like, yeah, first of all, you just spent most of your effort, and second of all, like, note writing, it's a very passive type of activity. And administrative work in the medical field is sort of the same way. It's very passive. You don't really need to be like all in, you know what I'm saying? And we do that on purpose. That's why, like, my schedule is administrative work one day, and then it's patient care the next day, and that balances itself out. And then when I was a music therapist, it was the same type of thing, where it was just like 60% clinical care, 40% notes. So that's like, it's very, very hard to channel your energy in that way, especially at work. So it really depends on the job, and it takes a lot of practice. It's taken me like 3 years to finally get it down, okay? Because I am an overachiever. So like, I want to put 110% into everything, and I do. But like, when you're going to school and working and living by yourself and exercising. Like, you can't put 110% into everything. And it's important to know this, especially if you're going to become a medical professional, because medical professionals work really long shifts. So you need to be able to know how to channel your energy accordingly to get through a long shift successfully. So anyways, it took me 3 years to figure it out, okay? But like, and it took me a couple of different jobs too to figure out what really worked. Not necessarily jobs, but like facilities, if that makes sense, because each facility does things a little bit differently. Let me take my hair down, because now we're getting to my favorite part of the day. Well, today, for example, I ran errands. So I did errands, and then I came home, and then I made dinner, and then I did some homework, and then I exercised. Okay, but let's cut out the errand part. Well, first of all, errands are very, very easy. That's like minimal effort, okay? And then making dinner yet again, that's minimal effort. You all know I don't really cook, so it's not like, it doesn't take forever. And then I did some homework, and that was like 110%, right, for that 2-hour block. And then I exercised, and that was like 110%, but not mental 110%, physical 110%. And then I came back, and then I did 110% mental. So that's the thing too, is like switching, you know, like going to the gym for me is a mental break. Going for a walk for me is a mental break, because like I'm watching TV. That's why I like to watch TV when I go to the gym, because it's a mental break, and then it's physical exertion. And I don't really think about what what I do. I mean, I write everything down, and then in my phone, you know, I write everything down and I follow the list, but like it's already pre-planned. So like when I'm at the gym, I'm not thinking, if that makes sense. And then when I do homework, like I have a standing desk, but it's not like I don't do sit-ups while I study. I find that very counterproductive for the way I work. It just doesn't work for me. I know a lot of people like read their textbooks while they're on this treadmill. No, that doesn't, like if I try to multitask like that, I'll end up doing 50% of both things. So then what's the point? Because I've tried that before. So that's the thing, is like when you're at work, you kind of channel your energy. And then when you go to the gym, for me, it's 110% physical, 20% mental, you know, because you have to make sure you don't run into somebody, or you need to clean off your machine, or whatever the case may be. And then when I do school, again, 110% mental energy, and then 20% physical, because sometimes I do like stretches on my break. I do work at a standing desk. So that's how I do it. And it took 3 years for me to get this like schedule down, and everybody's a little bit different. And I don't do this every day, and I do get very burnt out. But that's what you gotta do in order to be like upper class, man. You gotta figure out how to make the schedule work for you, not the other way around. And that's what I do. I make the schedule work for me. I do what's best for me. Going to work and actually working in the morning is always better for me. Like to do either an overnight shift, or to do like a 9 to 5 and 8 to 4. That usually works better for me, because like I'm not a morning person. So doing like working a 3 to 11 would actually be detrimental to school, because like I wouldn't be able to focus in the morning for school, and I wouldn't be able to focus at night for school. So again, like my work schedule 11 to 7, or 8 to 4, 9 to 5. Those times work best for me. And hey, you can double it up too. I've done that too, where it's like 11 p.m. all the way until 4 p.m. I've done that before too. And it's all about channeling your energy. And that's how you get through it. And that's how you can be successful. And yes, you are going to get burnt out. Yes. And it's going to take a while for your body to kind of get into the groove and to get used to it. And I don't know, maybe you can, maybe you don't need to exercise at the gym for 2 hours. You know, maybe you can do 30 minutes and call it a day. Maybe you can bike and read or listen to your lecture while you're going on a walk. You know, like maybe your job is so easy and you have no clinical care time, you know, so and you only work 4-hour shifts, so you don't really need to channel your energy at work. Everybody's situation is a little bit different, but I'm just sharing what works for me and how I can get through the long days. And let me tell you that figuring this out, yes, it took 3 years, but at least now I have it figured out. So then that way you can throw anything at me and I'll be able to handle it. I'll be able to go to school, like go to class and do homework afterwards. I'll be able to work those 12, 16-hour shifts. I'll be able to do double shifts if necessary. I'll be able to, you know, do clinical care. Like I said, like, and this is something that's adapting. I told you guys that I do admin work certain days and then I do clinical work certain days. And that is going to change as my job progresses. So eventually I'm going to end up doing like 60% clinical, 70% clinical every day, and then like 30% admin, you know, so it's going to change, but then your body, like I'm already halfway there, so my body's going to adjust. So then once the change does happen, or in school when the change does happen, I'm ready for it. So that's how I do it. That's how the brain surgeons do it. That's how the anesthesiologists do it. That's how at surgery. That's how every medical professional gets through those shifts, is they really channel their energy, and it's practice. The more you do it, the better you get. So yeah, so you might as well start at home. Don't be a couch potato, okay? I love watching TV and eating chips. It's a beautiful thing. But the thing is that we're young, okay? And I say this all the time. I wish more people would listen to me. Like, I don't want to come home from work, make dinner, and watch TV. What kind of life is that? What kind of life is that? So many people do that, okay? So many people, they work like 8 to 4. They get so exhausted, then they come home and then they have to cook or whatever the case may be, eat dinner, and then they have this huge rush of insulin, and then they just like watch TV like a vegetable and like fall asleep early, you know? I'm sorry, but like, why? Like, your life has no purpose, right? Like, then your only purpose, I guess in that situation, your only purpose ends up being work. And if you're working an 8-hour shift, that's not really a purposeful job, right? Right? Like, what job works 8-hour shifts? What, like, I'm getting very passionate over here. See, this is what happens when you channel your energy. You have energy to put out when you think you're done. No, but like, I don't understand what successful field works 8-hour shifts. I didn't even work 8-hour shifts. I worked 8-hour shifts as an intern, okay? But I didn't do it as a music therapist, financial advisor. We don't do 8-hour shifts. Doctors, they definitely don't do 8-hour shifts. Nurses don't really do 8-hour shifts. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody, I don't know one successful field that clocks in at 9 o'clock and leaves right at 5. I don't, honestly, any job that does that I've encountered or that I've worked with people who did this, their jobs were not purposeful. Their jobs were easy. Their jobs weren't necessarily a catch. Their jobs paid the bills. That's what I'm saying. Not that that's a bad thing, but that's not the life that I want to live. If my job is going to be the meaning or the purpose of my life, and it's a pay the bill type of job, then what kind of life am I living? You know? Now, in the future, my job is going to be the purpose of my life. My life is going to revolve around my job as a physician, as it should. As it should, okay? And that's the thing, is like certain professions do need their lives to revolve around the job, but your job has to be purposeful. I mean, a physician, you're helping people, okay? Like, even a financial advisor, you're not really directly helping people, but there's a lot of money that goes involved. I mean, like, when I crunch these numbers for school, and it's like, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of companies, they're investing a significant portion, and they're hoping that it pays off in the long run. Like, that's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. So again, like, it's okay if that type of job, if your life revolves around that type of job. As a music therapist, that was okay too, because you were lucky to even have a job as a music therapist. But like, jobs that just pay the bills, like, I don't understand why these people come into work, like, come in right at 9, leave right at 5, and eat dinner and watch TV, and they don't even go to the gym. Like, how are you even tired after working a dead-end job? How? So we're not even going to answer that question, and we're just going to try to channel our energy, so then that way we can be the better half of society, and we don't have to work jobs just to pay bills for the rest of our lives. We don't have to just like come home and watch TV. When you're old and you need your knee replaced, then that's totally fine. But at that point, I hope that you're retired. so you can go to sleep at 7 p.m. or I guess 8 technically, right? After Jeopardy, because Jeopardy's on at 7, and that's what people do when they're old. In my mind, at least. And that's fine. You need your knee replaced. You need your hip replaced. You have osteoporosis. Maybe you have scoliosis like me, and you're old and you're cute, because cute people are old. Old people are cute. And then you go to sleep at 8, and it's a beautiful thing. And that's wonderful, because you deserve it. But when you're in your 20s, like, no. Get up and get working and channel your energy and be successful. Because you deserve nothing less. You deserve nothing less. Life is too short. So get on that and be something great and give back to the world, because you have the potential. Might as well try. Might as well do it. What's the worst that can happen? Honestly, I don't think failure is an option for any of us. So we are going to be successful, because that's the game. That's the plan. And thinking this way and channeling your energy throughout life is going to help you become successful overall, so that failure isn't even, you set yourself up for success so much that you can't break it. You know, it's almost like failing a class. Like, it's hard to fail a high school class, right? And that's kind of the goal that we're going for, setting ourselves up for success. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Talk to you guys later. Bye!